Level 1. The accept all cookies. You clicked agree. You always click agree. Everyone clicks agree. The pop-up appeared the moment the page loaded. Gray background, 2 buttons. Accept all was blue, prominent, easy. Manage preferences was smaller, gray, and clicking it opened a submenu with 47 toggle switches that you would have to manually turn off one by one, and even then some of them were grayed out and non-negotiable. You clicked accept all. Obviously, you clicked accept all. You were trying to read an article about a recipe or check the weather or look up whether that actor was in that other movie. The cookie consent pop-up was between you and the thing you actually wanted, and accept all removed the obstacle in one click and you moved on with your life. This happens to you approximately 25 times a week. You've clicked accept all somewhere in the range of 2,000 times since the regulation requiring these notices went into effect, making you technically the most prolific consent giver in history, consenting constantly to things you've never read. Here's what's in what you agreed to. The terms of service for the average social media platform runs between 7,000 and 10,000 words. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon calculated that if Americans actually read every privacy policy they encountered, it would take 76 workdays per year. Nobody has 76 workdays a year to read privacy policies. The policies are not written to be read. They are written to be agreed to. You have agreed that your behavioral data can be collected. You've agreed that it can be shared with partners, a word that appears in these documents with a specific vagueness that is precisely the point. Because partners can mean a few carefully vetted companies, or it can mean thousands of data brokers depending on how generously the contract interprets the term. You've agreed that your content, the photos you upload, the messages you send through the platform, the text you type and then delete before sending, yes, that too, can be used to improve their services, which is language broad enough to include training AI models on your private thoughts. I have nothing to hide. This is the sentence. The sentence that closes the conversation. The sentence that has become the cultural default response to any concern about digital privacy. It's worth sitting with for a moment because it's not actually an argument. It's a concession dressed as indifference. Having nothing to hide and wanting privacy are not the same thing. You close the bathroom door not because you're doing something wrong, but because some things are yours. The search you ran about that symptom at 11 p.m. isn't something you're hiding. It's something that belongs to you, that you ran in what felt like a private moment, that is now sitting in a database next to your name and your IP address and the 11 other health-related searches you ran that month, building a profile of your health anxieties that you never agreed to share with anyone. You just agreed to share it. You clicked the blue button. Level 2. The discount trapper. $3 off a $30 purchase in exchange for everything. It was a Tuesday at Old Navy. The cashier asked for your email address and phone number to save 10% on your purchase. The purchase was $47. 10% was $4.70. You gave her the email. You gave her the phone number. You saved $4.70. That was 8 months ago. Since then, you have received 214 promotional emails from Old Navy, 31 text messages from Old Navy. Your email address, having been collected by a retailer, entered the data ecosystem, sold or shared with marketing partners, appended to existing profiles at data brokers, combined with your purchase history to build a consumer profile that now knows you shop for women's casual, that you're price sensitive enough to give up your contact information for a discount, that you have a household with children based on the kids section items in your purchase history. Your phone number went somewhere different. The spam call volume you experience now, 4 to 7 calls a day from numbers you don't recognize, numbers that rotate through area codes that look local, calls that when you answer are either silence or someone starting a sentence in the middle. This is not unrelated to the transactions where you provided your number for a discount. The number was sold, not necessarily by Old Navy directly, by the data ecosystem that Old Navy participates in, where consumer data flows between brokers and marketers with the kind of velocity that makes tracing any specific number to any specific source practically impossible. The rewards programs are the more sophisticated version of the same exchange. Your grocery store loyalty card saves you, genuinely, $600 to $900 a year on groceries. In exchange, your complete purchase history, every item you've bought, in what quantity, at what frequency for the past decade, belongs to the grocery chain. They know you buy wine every Friday. They know the brand of medication you pick up from the pharmacy. They know when your buying patterns changed in ways that suggest a new baby, or a health diagnosis, or a change in household composition. They sell aggregate versions of this data to CPG companies and insurers, and anyone else who finds purchase behavior at the individual or population level commercially useful. The savings are real. The exchange you made for them is also real. The math on whether it was worth it depends on what you think your data is worth, which is a number you were never given and which is considerably higher than $4.70. Level 3. The smart home surveillance. You invited them in. You put them in every room. You gave them the Wi-Fi password. The Ring doorbell went up in March because there had been some package thefts in the neighborhood, and it seemed reasonable. The Alexa went in the kitchen because it was on sale for Prime Day, and you'd always been curious. The Nest thermostat because you read it would save money on your energy bill, which it did meaningfully. The second Alexa went in the bedroom because your partner wanted to set sleep timers for music without reaching for a phone. You now have 4 microphone-enabled devices in your home and a camera pointing at your front door that has already captured footage of your comings and goings for 18 months. Here's what Amazon will tell you about Alexa. The device only activates when it hears the wake word. Here's what Amazon's own internal documentation has revealed through various investigations and leaked reports. Contractors in Romania, India, Costa Rica, and other locations listen to Alexa recordings to improve speech recognition. These recordings are selected algorithmically, but some are activated by misheard wake words. Sounds similar enough to Alexa that the device activates without you having said it. The recordings these contractors have described include arguments between spouses, children being disciplined, conversations about medical issues, personal and sexual conversations, someone describing in the contractor's account what sounded like an assault. This was not a hack. This was the product working as designed, the recordings being processed as intended by people paid to listen and tag audio in a quality control function that the device's marketing never quite got around to mentioning. Ring's relationship with law enforcement is its own chapter. Amazon built a network, Ring Neighbors, that allows police departments to request footage from Ring cameras without a warrant simply by making a request through Amazon's portal. Police departments in over 2,000 U.S. jurisdictions have had access to this portal. The homeowner who installed the camera to deter package theft is participating, possibly without knowing it, in a private sector surveillance network that operates with law enforcement integration and minimal judicial oversight. Your home is the most private space you have. You ran a network cable to it and handed the key to several corporations. The thermostat is really good, though. The energy savings are real. Level 4. The targeted ad paranoia. You mentioned shoes. The internet heard you. You're not sure how. Saturday afternoon. Your friend is over sitting on your couch. You say out loud that you've been thinking about getting into running, that you need a decent pair of shoes, nothing too expensive, maybe Brooks or Hoka. Your phone is on the coffee table between you. You didn't search anything. You didn't type anything. You just talked. Sunday morning, you open Instagram. Third post in your feed. An ad for Brooks running shoes. The specific style that's appropriate for a beginner, in a color you'd probably choose. You screenshot it. You send it to your friend. This literally just happened. She sends back a string of alarmed emojis. Here's the honest answer, which is complicated. The phone probably wasn't listening in the way you imagine. The technical analysis of this phenomenon consistently suggests that continuous audio processing in the background would generate detectable battery drain and data usage that researchers have not found. The more likely explanation is that your predictability as a consumer is higher than your intuition accounts for. Your behavioral profile, built from years of search history, purchase history, location data, social media engagement, demographic information, and the behavior of people similar to you makes you predictable. The algorithm knew you were approaching the moment of buying running shoes before you knew it, the same way Amazon knows you're about to need paper towels before you've run out, because your reorder interval is in the data. The timing of the ad felt supernatural because it was precise. The precision came from data, not from eavesdropping. Probably. The probably is doing real work in that sentence because the microphone permissions you've granted to Instagram exist, because the research on whether they're used passively is inconclusive in a way that inconclusive specifically means we can't prove they are rather than we've confirmed they aren't. Because Facebook's own engineers have described ad targeting capabilities in internal documents that suggest the system's understanding of offline conversations is more sophisticated than the company has publicly acknowledged. You bought the shoes. Of course you bought the shoes. The ad was well-timed and the shoes were reasonably priced and you'd already been thinking about it. The targeting worked. The data investment the platform made in your profile returned a conversion. You are the return on investment. Level 5. The data breach victim. A Tuesday morning. An email. 40 hours of your life, gone. The email subject line, important notice regarding your account security. It arrived at 7:23 a.m. while you were making coffee. You opened it half asleep, processed the words unauthorized access and precautionary measure, and your information may have been compromised, and then stood in your kitchen for a moment with the specific feeling of a floor dropping out from under you that's not physical, but feels physical. The breach was at a company you'd almost forgotten you had an account with, a home goods website you'd used twice in 2019. Your email address and password from that account, a password you'd used on several other platforms, a password you kept meaning to change, had been stolen and was circulating on the dark web within 48 hours of the breach. The next 40 hours of your life. Call the bank, freeze the cards, file the fraud alert. The fraud alert puts a notice on your credit report requiring identity verification for new credit applications, which protects you and also requires you to manually lift it every time you legitimately need to apply for credit, which you discover at the worst possible moment 6 months later. Change every password. You have 127 accounts according to your browser's saved passwords. You change 127 passwords over 2 evenings, using a password manager you should have been using for years and are now using under duress. Several of the accounts you try to log into have email addresses attached that no longer exist. Recovering them requires customer service calls, hold times of 35 to 55 minutes, to 3 separate companies. Check Have I Been Pwned, the website that indexes known data breaches. Your email address appears in 11 breaches, 11 separate incidents across 11 separate companies, spanning 2013 to the present. Each one a leak of your data in some form. Email, password, home address, phone number, date of birth. The information from these breaches, aggregated, constitutes a fairly complete profile of you. Somewhere in this web of leaked data is enough to attempt identity theft, to open credit lines, to file a fraudulent tax return, to access healthcare under your insurance, the specific breach that hit you this week. Your information was available on a dark web marketplace for $2. Not $2,000, not $200, $2, the price of a cup of coffee at 7-Eleven, your name, email, password, home address, and the partial payment card information you'd saved to the account, all of it. $2, sold to whoever wanted it. Likely automated bots buying bulk credential sets for credential stuffing attacks. You spent 40 hours dealing with the consequences of a $2 transaction you weren't party to. There will be more breaches. Statistically, you're in more databases than you know at more companies than you remember, and the breach you dealt with this week is one of 1,800 publicly disclosed data breaches in the US last year. The ones that aren't publicly disclosed don't have an annual count. Level 6? The algorithm puppet. You don't choose what you watch anymore, something else chooses for you. It's very good at its job. You opened YouTube to watch one video. A tutorial, something practical, something you specifically wanted to see. That was an hour and 40 minutes ago. The tutorial was 6 minutes. The 94 minutes after it were not chosen by you in any meaningful sense. The autoplay cue materialized and you followed it, video to video. In the same way you follow a path of least resistance without deciding to follow a path at all. The algorithm placed each video with the precision of someone who knows exactly what will keep your eyes moving forward. What the algorithm knows about you. Everything you've watched, for how long, at what time, on which device, whether you watched to completion or dropped off at a specific point, which reveals something about pacing or topic or style that made you disengage. It knows which thumbnails made you click and which you scrolled past, and the difference between those thumbnails tells it something about what visual signals activate your attention. It knows the emotional register of the content you watch at different times of day. You apparently watch more emotionally intense content late at night, which is a pattern the algorithm has identified and accommodates. The internal Facebook documents released in 2021, the ones that became known as the Facebook Papers, included research the company conducted on its own algorithm. The finding? Content that provokes anger and anxiety generates 70% more engagement than content that doesn't. The algorithm, optimizing for engagement, learned to serve anger and anxiety. Not because anyone programmed it to serve anger and anxiety specifically, because that's what kept people on the platform. And keeping people on the platform is the objective function. And the algorithm is very good at its objective function. What the algorithm does not optimize for, your well-being, your sense of the world, the accuracy of the information you consume, your ability to disengage and do something else. These are not in the objective function. They are externalities. The 94 minutes you spent watching videos you didn't choose is a data point. The algorithmic model that caused it updated based on your session. It's slightly better now at predicting what keeps you watching. It will be slightly better still after your next session. You didn't decide to spend 94 minutes on YouTube. An optimization function made that decision, and you followed it, and it was designed to be followed. The free will you thought you were exercising when you picked up your phone was real. What happened after was something else.